Welcome back to the #1 TV show in the history of the universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon and The Blackest Heart, both books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing John Grisham's latest novel, The Boys From Biloxi. So, this is his newest one. Came out maybe mid-October. I read it end of... When did I read this? I read it about a week ago, and it's probably about the 1st of November I read it. I think. I'm not even sure. It's been a couple of weeks, and I'm just getting to the review now. Anyway, The Boys From Biloxi. Let's talk about the cover first, because you know I love graphic design and cover illustration. This is good. I like the colors of this. It's got a great looking, it's got just a great, elegant style to it. Looks like a sunset over, I would assume, Biloxi. A couple dudes there. And the book is about a couple dudes, so that makes sense. So, this book, I gotta tell you, it's a real departure for John Grisham from what he normally does. Normally he does lawyer procedural novels, courtroom dramas. That's 95% of what he writes. Once in a while he branches off and does something else. This does have lawyer stuff in it. It does have a bit of a courtroom drama in it too. But this is more of a generational, well, it's not even a generation. Well, yeah, it is kind of like a history of Biloxi and the mob that was down there. And it starts off, it's the saga of two families, really. And it starts off with a handful of chapters that just kind of, I'm seeing so it's a good 20 pages of just the history of Biloxi itself. And it moves very fast. It's just like reading a Wikipedia article about Biloxi, how it was formed, who immigrated there, who settled it, from the early days all the way up until now, and just how the mob started to form there, and how government was formed there, and different things, and then it goes all the way, and then so we've got just the opening bit is a little bit of a slog, because we're not really getting to know any characters. We're just getting to know how the kind of the lineage of the characters, really. It's like, this is our two main characters are going to show up soon, but this is how their father and grandfather and great-great-grandfather sort of came into Biloxi. What happens is, now this has got the largest cast of characters of any John Grisham book I have seen. In fact, this book reminds me a lot of how when Dennis Lehane jumped out of his wheelhouse when he was writing all these Kenzie and Gennaro mystery thrillers set in Boston, and then all of a sudden he started to do like a historical fiction, like a generational gangster novel, and it was Live by Night and The Living Day, or the Live by Night and The Given Day. Those were the ones that he wrote. It really reminds me of that. That's kind of what John Grisham's doing here. Sort of a gangster, an epic gangster story set in Biloxi with a large cast of characters. But really the only two characters I'm going to talk to you about in this story are Keith Ruby and Hugh Malco. They're two young friends. They grow up and they play Little League together. They're just really good friends. The thing is, though, their fathers are on opposite sides of the law. Keith's dad is sort of this legendary lawyer who fights against the mob. And Hugh's father is, well, he's a mob boss. He's in charge of Biloxi criminal underground. And so anyway, as these kids grow older, they start to realize that their fathers are on opposite ends of the spectrum. They start to, even though they're best friends as they're little, they start to grow apart as they become teenagers. Different things start happening that separate them a little bit, that kind of ruin their friendship. Keith's slowly turning into just being that good lawyer son. Hugh is just becoming more and more of a party boy, starting to snowball down into the, he's going to take over for his father, right? The whole thing comes down to a big kind of criminal because these guys grow. We watch them as kids to teenagers to adults to even beyond that, to where they we see their relationship and all of the characters that surround them and how all of that affects their relationship together and how they go from being tight as kids to rivals, really, in the town of Biloxi. There is a courtroom drama. There's like a kind of a lengthy courtroom drama that's sort of, it's the book is really kind of put together in several different acts, where it's the young years, the coming of age teenage sort of in their 20s years, and then this courtroom drama kind of a thing shows up. And so all things considered, I've got to give John Grisham props for trying to branch out and to do something a little different here. I just like his courtroom dramas better. I just do. I like them better. This was one of the, I would give this, I mean, it kept my attention for sure. It just didn't thrill me like most Grisham books do. I'm going to give this about a 7 out of 10. Still a good book to read. It did sort of the same thing like Dennis Lehane books are usually 10 out of 10s for me. But then when I read his mobster stories, set in Boston, the Given Day and Live by Night, those, I didn't like them quite as much. The same thing here. I love Grisham. I just don't know if I liked the mobster story as much here. It's just me, though. It's just me. Still, I liked it. I still like it. When I say I don't like a book as much as another book, it doesn't mean I didn't like the book. I did. It didn't send chills up my spine like a lot of other John Grisham books have. So anyway, 7.5 out of 10, or did I give it a 7? We'll call it a 7.25 out of 10.